Jared Robinson. They call me Jay.
This is Michael Jeffrey. They call me Mike Jeff.
This is Logan Barnes, and they call me Pounds.
This is Vince Smith, and they call me Vinny.
And this is The Last Dab. And welcome back to The Last Dab podcast. The crew is here.
Once again, thank you for listening. Yes. Thanks for supporting us. Today, we have a great guest here. We got Mike Smith here. Before we had your son, actually in this same very location, and we were talking about the Star Wars episode.
Right.
Isaac Smith. But tonight,
We got the Pops.
Yep.
We got Pops here.
Old man wrestling.
and that's exactly pro wrestling. That's the topic of today. And honestly, I've been waiting for this I've been excited for this to come.
Right.
Like,
When we first talked about it, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I get to babble about wrestling.
right. And Vince got me into wrestling in third grade.
Vinny.
2006.
I didn't have cable, so I had to make sure that Friday Night SmackDown was coming on on basic television.
Well, I'm so old, they would do the pay-per-view, and we'd have to wait till it came to the movie store.
To the movie store?
Yeah.
6 months later, and then you'd rent it.
Right.
Oh,
and now we don't even have movie stores.
There's no
like,
movie
what the
stores
heck?
no more.
That's
It's all
sad in
digital.
itself.
It's all,
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, it's all like, everything's all live now. And then once it's not, it's on YouTube. But like back then, how old are you, Mike?
I'm 50.
Some people
So,
don't
yeah.
like to answer it, but
I'm the old man. I'm 50, so
50 years young.
yeah, 50 years young.
When did you get into wrestling? How did you get?
Believe it or not, I got into wrestling, and I always heard stories of my great grandfather watching wrestling back in the day of like Dick the Bruiser and the really old people. I didn't see that back then.
Yeah.
But when I was young, my parents would go to some friends of theirs' house. They play cards, and they had a giant satellite dish, one of those giant ones.
Yeah,
and
on the
one
roof
night,
or whatever.
and one night they were trying to keep me busy while I played cards, and so they turned it. It takes forever to turn one of those giant dishes, and they turned it, and it was Madison Square. They got a feed into Madison Square Gardens, and it was like Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy
Hell
and
yeah.
Andre the Giant, and I was immediately hooked.
Yeah.
How old do you think you say you were about that time?
Oh, I was probably 7 or 8, and I was immediately hooked.
For Hulk Hogan at that point in time, is he already larger than life? Is he already like household?
He was getting ready at that time. He was getting ready to beat the Iron Sheik.
Oh, okay.
And that's when he was getting ready to like pop and go off big.
So
Yeah.
like obviously Hulk Hogan. So you're
Yep.
familiar. It's crazy.
Familiar with Hulk Hogan. I'd say from 1 to 10 on a familiar. See, sometimes I try to make words that I try to make words that don't fucking exist. From knowing everything about it and 1 being like nothing, I feel like I'm like at a 4 to a 5. Like I'm not completely just oblivious and baffled to it when anyone talks about
like,
it.
man, the more you think you know, the less you know. You know what I mean? Like it's like it can be a rabbit hole. Honestly,
you're right.
It can be a rabbit. You mentioned Andre the Giant. Like that's another literally larger than life.
Everyone knows. You cannot even know what pro wrestling is,
And know
you would
these
know.
guys.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
would
it's
know
so
Andre.
pop culture.
Right.
It is a culture icon. Yeah.
Yeah. And, back in the day, and as I get older, I laugh because I tell my wife, this is my man soap opera.
Really
I
though.
watch it every week. It's my man soap opera.
And was it as like dramatic as has it always been that drama? Has it always been the promos, or as far as from what you have seen?
Even before I went back and watched old videos and they were always cutting promos on each other because back in the day, they thought it was real.
Right. And that's
So-
kind of one of the things that I did want to bring up briefly. It's like,
wait, what are you guys talking about?
Jared, oh man,
What are you saying?
you're how old?
It's still real to me.
No matter what. Like, it's real, but it's not, because I'll watch something. okay, it might not be real in the sense that we're actually going at it with an animosity. Like, I don't like you. I'm trying to win completely. But like, bro, you jump off a fucking ladder from 25 feet. I don't give a fuck how real or not you think.
Yes.
You're going to the chiropractor.
Something's happening.
Right.
So I see that now as older to where I'm not like, oh, what are you saying? You think it's real? Now I'm looking at it like, hold on, these are fucking athletes.
Yeah,
Literally
no, in
athletes.
fact, they are almost bigger than the pro athletes you think of. Because, I mean, they are every other night they're in a different town, and they don't have, they don't have a lot of time to get ready for the next show.
Traveling to the next location.
That's something I didn't think about as a kid. Like, you just like oblivious to it. Like, don't think about them having to like go to different cities every night and stuff like that.
I mean, they were wrestling probably 200-300 days a year.
Wow.
Plus traveling and everything.
Yeah, and in between that, they get a couple weeks off to go be with their families, and then they're back on the road again.
And they have to keep that physical appearance all the time. You have to keep that like that personality.
Exactly.
Right.
The persona. The persona.
Well, it's just
stay in
like
character.
now you didn't want to go away because somebody's going to take your spot.
Okay.
Totally.
So, so they always had a thing. There's a term, and I'll throw terms at you guys. There's a term called kayfabe, and kayfabe means that somebody always stays in character. So when wrestlers back in the day, like they'd have Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Iron Sheik, all those guys, even when they weren't like
In the ring
or on the set, they were in character all the time when they were in the public. And there were rules.
Okay.
You can't ride together. You couldn't be around each other.
because it's like, what if we're an enemy and we're about to
Right.
wrestle? We can't be on the
Exactly.
same bus together.
But then
eating a
that
fucking-
failed because at one time they got busted in a car together drinking and
Drinking.
driving.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be drinking. We can't help it.
Yeah, so they got busted. So the whole kayfabe thing kind of caved.
People
And
kinda
there's-
knew.
Yeah, but there are still wrestlers today who live like that.
Taker was really big on not giving up his
Right.
persona, Undertaker. I also remember seeing, because I watched a lot on Peacock, watching all the documentaries on there, Triple H.
Yeah.
And Triple H, I believe it was, he just had, Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
I believe this was whenever it was WCW's like last night before.
Yeah, before they kind of caved in and the WWE
Right.
bought them.
So how many like separate, entities, companies? Like I know they basically reword it and it's almost the same shit, but like, what I mean? How many of those have been since like you were?
Well, the
there's a
problem
lot.
is your mind would be blown at how many actual wrestling companies are out there.
What would you say?
Your local Jim Nate. There's guys that go every weekend and will wrestle in an armory for Saturday and Sunday. They'll go wrestle and then they'll go be an accountant for 5 days.
Right.
Okay.
So there's all of these, there's organizations out there in every state. You can look up wrestling organizations in Indiana, and there's pro wrestling organizations in Indiana. But then there's the big ones, WWE, AEW now is really huge.
I used to watch TNA back in the day.
TNA was pretty hardcore.
I'm a big New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's a whole different perspective. It's over in Japan.
Is that the one China went to after her career?
I couldn't tell you.
I believe that she
Possibly.
with her situation, which I just got to bring up, like she may be one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time in my own opinion. China.
She was part of the DX group.
Yes, could you bring up a picture of this monstrosity? But she was a beast, man. Like she went in there and she beat guys, like picking them up above her head. Like honestly, I feel like
She was ripped.
yeah, she was in. The reason why she was no longer wrestling was because her and Triple H, another member of the DX, were. They had a relationship behind the scenes, and they were tag team partners or whatever in the ring. And him and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon ended up having a secret relationship.
So that kind of messed with the one term you said.
You hear McMahon as the last.
kayfabe.
You hear McMahon as the last name. Like, how are you going to win that battle? Like, dude, she was a beast, bro.
Man, look at her. So that's the thing where it's like, oh, people say it's not real. She literally lifted a man. This is not cords and shit. Like that's
Right.
a woman lifting grown men. Like
Right.
that's crazy.
And nowadays, it's not even so much the physique of, back in the day, it was, all these guys that were just ripped and jacked. Now these guys, they almost have to be like circus performers. These guys are doing flips off these ropes
Right.
that just blow your mind that somebody can actually.
Okay, so China.
Yeah. So China.
China?
China.
He said China.
You saying that, he actually was in the
Bro,
WWE.
oh my God, that's a
So
huge...
see right there, Trump was in the WWE.
And that was
I remember
big.
that. I remember
Yeah.
that.
It's
That was when
so
we were watching.
comical.
You just led right into that
I
perfectly.
did. So that is a good point. Like WWE almost brought in like just regular people, and by regular I just mean like not in that pro wrestling, and they were able to. Bro, Snoop Dogg was on.
Yeah.
That's
just a
what's
year
cool
ago.
about it is because I mean, like you can see other people that you're familiar with, and I don't know if any other pro wrestling really does this or not, but I know a lot with WWE. That's just what I'm more familiar with.
AEW starting to do that more. Snoop Dogg was on there as well. Mike Tyson.
Mike
He's
Tyson.
been in both.
There you
He's
go.
been in both.
And you see a lot of like UFC fighters that go into WWE after
Totally.
their Ronda
Yeah,
Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. I
But
forget.
wait, was Brock Lesnar first WWE and then he went to
Yes.
UFC?
Yep.
So
Yes.
that's when I got older and I realized, wait a fucking minute. These aren't just some half-ass people that just, act. Like
No.
these are
Well,
real
then
athletes.
you got the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle
Yeah.
coming into the WWE after winning the Olympics, getting medals in the Olympics. But then the type of mindset is, and you said the word circus performers, you
Yeah.
get the mindset of, you know what I mean?
The
Like
face paint.
Well, I was gonna say
that.
I think Kurt Angle went through a rough period in his life where he's like, well, I just came from the Olympics and now here I am like doing silly things for Mr. McMahon or you know what I mean? And it's like it kind of seems like what do I want to say, like demeaning almost. or
Yeah, but
it's like-
when he did those silly
He did
things
good
with
job.
him and Stone Cold, they were some of the best stuff you ever
For
seen
real.
on TV. Just the comedy bits that they would
With
do.
The
were
Rock,
hilarious. Yeah, with the Rock.
yippee ki
Yeah, the
yay!
little hat. Yeah.
So it was entertainment.
It was very-
and I feel like UFC is kind of slowly getting into that aspect. Like they're bringing in some more entertainment. Boxing has always been entertainment, the lead up to it. So I feel like WWE almost like they kind of like introduced that and like put it on a large scale. Like just because we are fighting and that is entertaining, look at all the other things that we're bringing into it.
Well, when I was younger, the whole UFC thing, when it first started out, it was a circus because what was amazing is this is back before they had like weight divisions and the different
Right.
types of fighting. So, you would have a guy like Tank Abbott against some sumo wrestler.
Right.
And when I was a kid, I was like totally mesmerized by these fights. And they were really fighting,
Right.
knocking each other out.
You get this fucking Ken Shamrock.
Almost like when they
Jack-
brought in Kimbo Slice.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very versatile. With the pro wrestling is very, very versatile, and like you said, from those big powerhouses to the high flyers to the strikers to the submission artists, the grappler.
What's his name? 319?
Eddie,
619.
Or
Ah.
what is it?
Rey
619?
Mysterio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rey Mysterio.
yeah.
That's who I think of when you say, and circus performer. Definitely, that's not a degrading term, but the
No.
dude could fucking,
Go.
he could fly.
he could fly.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me like that shit is not, you can't do that unless you have fucking skills.
Technique.
And they have to be good at what they do. And here's the thing is those guys know that it's not only their performance, but the other wrestler is, if they do their job, then they're safe. But if
Right.
the other wrestler is not safe, then they could get their neck broken.
Totally. Tombstone pile driver.
Yeah.
If
you talking about Rey Mysterio down in Mexico, it was a fluke, but he did that 619 and he snapped the guy's neck and he died.
Killed him.
What?
man.
Killed him
He did. Yeah.
down in
I
Mexico.
didn't know that.
Holy
Maybe I did, but I
I
didn't
think
remember.
it's been a long time.
Maybe I repressed it.
I guess the
You're
story
right.
the story with that is he had hurt his neck on a previous move, and it was like, I don't know if you want to say held together on a sliver. And then when he got in that position between
was
the ropes
boom.
and he did it, it just snapped and killed him.
And the thing about that is, obviously all of them were consent.
Yeah,
you're consenting to do this. You could easily get injured. Wow.
And they all know it, and they go in trusting each other. Nobody believes that, and that's another term. They call it working stiff. If a guy doesn't like give or help out in moves when they need spotted to get up in certain moves. If a guy like you slam him to the ground and he jumps back up like it didn't hurt.
Right.
Stuff like that.
There was I was watching something. Rocky, believe Rocky 3. Whenever he's facing Hulk Hogan in the ring, and then Rocky picks big ass Hulk Hogan up, and you can see Hulk Hogan propping his arm on his shoulder, and it's really
a little
for
bit
the
of
stability for.
Is he? Oh, are they like similar size? Or?
I don't even think any
Hogan's
close.
huge,
Yeah,
like
not
Cal,
even close.
Yeah.
So he just by him putting up that elbow, putting up that arm is giving Rocky or
It's kinda like
Sylvester Stallone
gymnastics.
enough
Yeah.
stability to hold him up. And you see him toss him over the rope, and it's still perfected because Hulk Hogan has his elbow kind of on the rope as he's falling down, so it's not a complete crash down into the crowd. He's controlling the fall.
And they teach him how to fall. I mean, you
Right.
see them. There's a certain way they lay out flat, and they learn how to take the bumps and fall.
Right.
So trust me, I would get killed if I did it. I'd probably last 5 minutes.
Watching some of those ladder matches, like how do you? I don't even know.
I don't even know how
they
you
go
could
through
land properly on a ladder.
I don't even climb ladders that well.
through tables and stuff.
On a
like,
fucking ladder
Yeah.
on a ladder.
I fell like
think
3
that's-
rungs off a ladder and thought I was dying. Yeah.
3.5 feet.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy at the top.
Yeah, crazy.
You're keeping the persona still
And-
when you have to be scared.
Actually, the guys who brought that in, right, was Edge, Christian,
Yeah, Edge, Christian, and
Hardy Boys,
The Hardy Boys,
Dudley's.
Dudley's is always bringing the table.
Yeah, they're always bringing the table. Yeah,
Love Ray, get the tables. So,
yeah. He yells it, "Bring in the tables!"
and then you think like the chair shots to the head.
Those are
you're
real
supposed to
chairs.
help control that, but there are so many guys that are getting
Fuck.
serious.
Hit.
Yeah,
Watching Mick Foley get thrown into a pile of tacks.
Dude, that's not.
that is what, even watching that now, when they throw that bag of tacks out, everybody in my family watches me and I am just squirming.
Right.
Because they're tacks in their backs.
Right.
They got to go out with a pair of pliers and pull every one of them.
Yeah.
Barbed wire bats and stuff.
Like, bro.
Crazy stuff.
It's
is
insane.
wild.
And it's just
Tables
like,
on fire.
It's
Right,
like
yeah.
they just keep trying to take it to the next level. And I mean, there's diehard wrestling out there, and some of it's come to the forefront now where they're busting light tubes over each other's head. It's called death matches, and that's it's a whole nother genre of wrestling
It's like
called
amped up.
Yeah.
Kind of like
And,
we're not like we're not on the same page, but like we're going out there for a little more than just entertainment. Like we're gonna hurt each other.
Yeah, it's brutal. Going in, there will be blood. So there's
You guys had brought up Rey Mysterio, and personally, that's my favorite WWE wrestler of all time. We got to meet him one year at the World
that's
of
awesome.
Wheels
Yeah, that's cool.
in
real?
Indianapolis.
You don't
which
want
was-
to see the picture.
How old
Oh
is
yeah, I'm
young.
thinking, but I look like I got grease on my lips right then and there, like I just ate something. I don't know.
My man
I
ate
was
a
thinking
fucking
about-
hot dog.
Yeah,
right
corn
before
dog, I
he
think,
left.
or something. I don't know. But I wanted to ask you, who do you think of all time? Any brand or who is your favorite wrestler? You can do it like a top 3 if you
top
want.
3.
It's like,
My favorite was always Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Okay.
That's right. He'd come off. Once again, as a kid, I watched him jump off the top of a steel cage onto a wrestler by the name of Don Morocco. And as
That
a
name
little
sounds familiar.
That does sound familiar.
as a little kid, you're just like, he flew out of the rafters. This guy. I'd
it's
say him.
actually flying. And another thing was that the padding back then as well was just the thin, and they had the metal bars as the barriers.
Well, I think that's another thing that's a misconception is most people don't know what that ring is made of. When you think it's probably like a trampoline with a
something that's
pad
like
on it.
absorbent.
When you take that mat off, it's plywood.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's some give, but it is actual plywood.
Right.
That shit would cost too much now, bro.
right. I would say Superfly Snuka. Obviously, always mesmerized with Andre, the Giant. Now I'm obsessed with a guy named Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
He wrestles for AEW. He was wrestling in New Japan.
Okay.
Check him out.
Big on him. The Young Bucks. They're tag team. A lot of flying. A lot of acrobats.
A good tag team's always cool to watch. Like watch them work together. And
What are
stuff
some
like
other
that.
tag teams that are super big? Because I know there's helly of them.
Definitely. We got to go with
There's
the
a
Brothers
lot.
of Destruction.
And
You
wait,
know,
That's classic.
the Undertaker and Kane.
Okay.
Um,
What else can we think of?
if I want to,
You always go Hardy Boys.
Hardy
Christian
Boys
and
for sure.
Edge.
Christian and Edge.
that was a good
Crime
one.
Time. Wait, that was a little bit later on.
Right.
Chad Gaspard and JTG.
Oh, yeah.
That's Crime Time.
So what's up with the tag team stuff? Like me being someone that doesn't.
Brian
I never
Kendrick
watched.
and what's his name? Paul
Paul
London.
London, yeah,
Dude,
those
they
are
were
fun to watch.
exciting tag team too. That was probably more like
like
that the Attitude Era type.
You'll do
Do
like
they have like their separate wrestling shit where they can wrestle alone, or are they always like a tag team thing?
No, sometimes they do.
Yeah, sometimes there'll be two superstars that come together,
Okay.
or two younger guys that come together, and then once they become big, they'll split off into
it's
their own
almost
thing.
like
Like Edge and Christian were like they were coming up together, and then they both became
Separate
superstars.
entities.
So it's almost like a way to like amp your career almost.
Sometimes
yeah.
like mismatch people will come in and win like a tag team championship. Like you won't even.
And you know it's not going to last.
you know,
Right.
When I was a kid, believe it or not, like I said, when I was 7 or 8, it was Hulk Hogan and Mr. T.
Yeah.
That's who started. And he was against Roddy Piper and
Roddy Piper.
Paul Orndorff.
Okay.
Yeah, that was way back in the day.
Now, okay, all right, hold on. I got to slow down. I got a whole bunch. I got a whole bunch going on in my head. Another little tag team is like Finley and Hornswoggle. I just went.
Yeah, that's the whole comedy aspect.
Right.
Right.
And then you'll have the guys who, like you said, like they'll grow and then they'll split off. But I feel like the way that they did that is one's got to go. Like one has to get upset
And that's part
at
of the
other.
drama or the script is you slowly start building and they were best friends and they saved each other and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden one turns on the other and that was like
That's
back
real
in
life
the day
shit.
it was Bret Hart and I don't know
The
it's,
Hart Dynasty?
or HBK.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Him and Marty Jannetty were a team and then he busted his head through a window and they went through a whole segment and then they were against each other for like 3 months and it was just once again part of the drama.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's real life. You know what I mean? Like
I mean,
that's why
because it can
people
be related,
yeah.
like relatable, somewhat. You know, I hit him in the head with a ring bell, but something else. I'm thinking about that Pillman shirt. Kind of want that.
Right.
I kind of got dibs on
Pillman's
that.
gotta go.
Pillman's got to
So
go.
you brought in a bunch of cool ass shirts,
Right.
and we'll periodically show a couple. You know what I mean? So like, you guys know I mean, how many? I mean, give a rough guesstimate. Like, how many fucking wrestlers do you guys know?
There's been so many that come through.
And then how many
come and
are
go.
there?
like some you'll forget about and be like, oh yeah, I remember watching him wrestle,
Right.
but then
Right.
like you don't know what happened to him.
So if you go to prowrestlingtees.com, I'm giving a plug, I guess.
And this is what these are from.
Yes. Well, but I buy a subscription crate, and every month you pay so much a month, and you get like 2 T-shirts, an autograph,
oh, that's cool.
and some other stuff that
that
you
one
can
there?
get with it. So
Who's that right there?
that's the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Oh, his name used to be Luke Gallows?
Yeah.
And then was he Festus before?
No. I'm sorry. Yes, he was.
He
Yes,
was.
He was.
Do you remember
Yes,
Festus?
yes.
Jesse and Festus? Biscuits and gravy, eggs and ham, or something like that. And he'd be like this. He'd come out like,
Yeah, exactly.
And
His
he
tongue
walk
was half
out.
hanging out of his mouth.
and then they'd ring the bell. Ding,
And
ding,
he'd
ding.
come right in.
He would go off.
I'm like, is this dude okay?
But it's cool to see him now as
Right. Now they went off together and they wrestled in New Japan.
okay.
And they
So
were.
what's this New Japan? Are they literally in Japan?
It's their WWE in Japan.
okay.
So they have their own. They have their own big
Japan,
show.
bro, they go in. on things. You know what I mean? Like
that is the one that China went to because after Triple H and Stephanie had their deal going on, obviously Stephanie wasn't going to allow China to be in there anymore. So China had to pretty much make her or continue keeping her name, going on. And she went through a lot of different battles. And they have a documentary on her on Peacock, and it's really in depth. But just the fact, X-Pac came in and started trying to, wrestle with her or whatever. But he kind of like aided in her addiction of drug abuse and alcohol and all that.
And there was a lot of that goes on.
Isn't that crazy? Like WWE pro wrestling, like, yes, it is entertainment and they do put on these personas, but that is so like emotionally and like mentally draining for people.
Right.
So like, yeah, they have these stories, they're real lives, but people aren't really thinking
We
about.
can talk about some of the dark stuff, like Jeff Hardy's.
I think that'd be cool to
like
get into.
that.
Well, then
Like-
you get like we said, you're on the road for so long and you're amped up and everybody's cheering for you, and then you go home
Nobody's
and
cheering.
you got to
Just
be
a regular
You
ass
got to be
motherfucker.
dad, you got to be husband, whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, do you know who I am?
Right,
No,
yeah.
Your dad.
Hulk
you know?
Hogan at
His
home.
name ain't
Anybody?
Ego.
Right. Brooke Hogan?
I
Trying to
remember
go to sleep.
As a kid, like overhearing my parents talk about the Chris Benoit situation, like
Oh,
not
yeah.
wanting to tell me like
Yeah.
what happened.
What was that? Break that down.
So what happened was he was supposed to wrestle on a pay-per-view on a Sunday, and they couldn't get a hold of him. I guess he like
Great
no-showed,
American Best?
right?
No, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
what
during
it
the
was.
summer.
They all tried to call him and they couldn't
And
get
they
him.
so
couldn't get him.
they replace him in the match, like something they just like brought another wrestler, and then ended up he suffocated his son and his wife.
Wow.
And then hung himself.
Yeah, with on a piece of weight equipment.
Yeah.
And he was like a pretty well known.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Very well known.
Yeah.
The Rabbit Wolverine.
He was
bro.
so
Yeah.
fun to watch wrestle.
He was amazing talent. Dude.
He's like a very big submission guy.
And he was, he was really affected by Eddie Guerrero, who also
That's
had
another
passed away from
From addiction.
from addiction.
Yeah.
And you could even see it in the Rabbit Wolverine, Chris Benoit's matches. Dude, dark circles under his eyes. Like
He was devastated.
Yeah, he looked really tore up about it. And another weird thing about it is the week before this, Mr. McMahon had faked his own death on
Like for
on
real,
screen.
for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I get
No,
it.
yeah, part of like the script,
Yeah.
so
I
to
get what you're
speak.
saying. Yeah.
But so like he
Was that when the whole limo blew up?
yeah, he walking through. You can tell something's like off.
He's like looking.
This is shortly after the match with Donald Trump. We never got into that. It was Donald Trump.
It was a hair for hair match.
yeah, so stupid.
Donald Trump had Bobby Lashley.
I've just been hearing recently that Donald Trump actually made them sign a legitimate contract saying that even if it was his wrestler against Vince McMahon's wrestler,
Yeah.
and whoever's wrestler won, the other guy had to the other manager or whatever had to shave their head. Well, Donald Trump actually had a true legal
binding
contract said that even if I forget what it was, if my wrestler or your wrestler my wrestler dies,
Still not.
you're still not cutting this.
Bro, I mean, that's the hair, bro. Trump
He's got to
that
make
hair.
the sign right here and sign there
Yeah.
and sign here, and I won't lose my
I'll never
hair.
forget Bobby Lashley putting shaving cream on Vince McMahon's head and fucking shaving him.
Right?
I remember Bobby Lashley's he's looked at Mr. McMahon because it was Mr. McMahon's idea, allegedly, and and he's like, "What's wrong with bald?" He said, "What's wrong with bald people?" Bobby Lashley's this huge dude, got
Massive.
no hair at all. Yeah, just stacked muscles all on his body or whatever. And it was Bobby Lashley versus Umaga.
Oh yeah,
And that
that's
was
right.
the wrestlers that had to win. And ended up, Mr. McMahon, had to get his head shaved. And he was all depressed for the next month or whatever, the next few months. And then he's walking through all the hallways and all the superstars are there. And it's this is weird. Something's weird about this. And Mr. McMahon takes one last look before he hops into his limo.
And then the limo blows up.
And then what was sad was then he appears the next Raw
Yep.
saying, "I faked my own death."
For what reason?
Chris Benoit actually
He actually had
took
to
his
come out
own
and say,
life.
okay, I went too far with it.
Oh,
What was the
okay.
term you said where you're not supposed to break character?
Kayfabe.
Kayfabe.
So
Yeah.
he went
Not around.
completely.
He's like, okay,
this is too much.
this is I gotta be out in public.
Because
So,
was
yeah.
he kind of getting like backlash and shit for it?
I mean, everybody knew he.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everybody
the-
knew he wasn't dead.
Right.
But,
Right, you're
yeah.
right.
But then that real situation came out.
and it was
he's
just like,
"All
bro, what are you doing? Like,
And it's
yeah.
even worse in the world we live today because networks would be like,
Oh,
okay,
that
we're
would not
canceling
happen.
you.
Yeah, no, that would not happen today. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't like went on during from like or late 90s
The
to
attitude.
It was
That you
super
couldn't do the
sexual
attitude.
too. I
Yeah.
feel like.
I remember watching on ECW like a strip poker game between the divas.
Yeah.
you,
So
you
wait,
can't
wait a
have a brawl and panties match now.
Right.
I feel like was there like so you obviously watched the matches, but was there a lot of just like shit you would watch before or after the matches that just was like the entertainment?
Yeah, like the
aspect to
between
it?
like backstage interviews, like
The promos.
Promos.
I mean, the
Promos.
promos
That's
are probably
promos.
for me one of the biggest things is how they cut their promos.
And how would that be like played out when you're watching that? Would that be completely different, or would it be like throughout the match? Like
They lay them in like between matches. They'll cut backstage and stuff like that. So
and that would just give you like so much more to like absorb and
yeah, you
and
see like
whatnot.
someone getting ready backstage and then like they get attacked or
He gets
something.
attacked.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
there's always an attack.
You'll hear the commentators. What is this? Oh, this is disgusting. I love the commentators.
right?
With the promos nowadays, I believe that they have to stick, and this is WWE more I'm talking about. They have to stick more to the script. Maybe
Yes.
that might possibly be changing with the new, because I think now they're changing the age rating and all that.
Yes,
or-
they're going up a little bit on their age rating. I don't know what it is, if it's 14
I
or
think
something
so.
like that. I don't understand all
14-year-olds
that
are
rating.
grown.
When we were
fucking
watching
men
it,
now.
I think it was 14, but then like 2008 they went to PG, I believe.
Right.
and that's why everyone was like, "Ugh, I don't
What
like
kids know at 14 now versus what I knew at 14
Totally.
Yeah.
is insane.
And
Totally.
we can thank the internet.
Yes.
We got 4-year-olds talking about bussing. That's bussing. I'm
Bro,
like, this
I
just
watched
doesn't
this
sound
video,
right.
bro. And it's like this family, and they're just doing something, boo, boo, boo. And then it pans to like, it's a mom recording. It pans to her son. He's like, Mama, do you squirt? Bro. And I fucking lost it. Like, what
Whoa.
do you do as a fucking parent right there, bro?
Yeah. Wow. Ground them. Take their tablet.
They- back when we were watching it, a bunch like all the divas were doing Playboy too, so
And
that
that's
was
what
like a
I'm
big
saying.
thing.
Yeah,
It was
they
like
were
a
Candace
sexual
Michelle.
aspect to it.
Yeah.
They had one of the behind the scenes.
Tori Wilson.
Tori Wilson. Stop. Kelly.
Stop. They sound like
I'm not
porn
gonna say
stars, bro.
Sable, yeah.
Sable. That's yeah.
She's married to Brock Lesnar now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That interesting.
That's a group.
They got that one chick, Nikita Lyons.
Yeah, I'm not
Whatever.
sure.
Lion.
Oh, she bad.
That's like newer.
She bad. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of like it's kind of like UFC, bro.
Trish
Like,
Stratus,
there's some good looking.
Trish Stratus, Lita,
Lead it, yeah.
Ashley
She's dead. You know that?
She's
no,
dead, he
what?
said.
She died somehow. I forget.
What?
I'm not sure how. but
Damn.
I remember reading that.
That's messed up, dude.
Jared could have saved her.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
should.
we
I,
really should,
I was
bro.
always there too.
I was there for her.
Emotionally.
I guess I'll take Mickey James. She's pretty bad too.
There's a lot. It seems
She's
like
on
it's
that-
almost like you have to be.
She's on that. She's on that Cameo app or whatever. So like, we could actually maybe. I think if we pay enough, she'll like, do a.
Well, show her titty or something, bro.
no. Hey, now we want her to watch this or join us one day.
Yeah.
If we could get her as a guest, that would
But
be.
you
pretty
talking
sick.
about the promos, WWE has always been very scripted. This is what you gotta, this is how you gotta say it, what you gotta say. Now, like I watch AEW because it's not scripted, so they let those guys just go.
Like they're actually just going at each other personally, personally.
They
but
say
like,
a lot of personal stuff.
like mom, like
You
parent.
name it. Like I'll
said
give you an
name it.
example. There is a guy that wrestles, and he wrestles by the name Jungle Boy, and you're gonna die when you hear this. He is the son of Luke Perry from 90210. So he wrestles. So he was wrestling against Christian, who is now in AEW. And Christian laid into him and said, like in the promo, he laid into him and said something, "You'll never be as good as your dead dad."
Oh man.
And he said something about, your dead dad is disappointed in you. And, it's like, you're like, Whoa.
I don't even care if that was scripted. It's still fucking.
So I mean,
pissed me
usually
off.
they agree on it. I'm assuming they have to agree on it in the back because I'm assuming they would.
Right.
rip
I'd
into
actually
each
get
other.
mad
Because-
if someone brought that up.
Because now these are like, you can't choose who you work with for one, you know, and like imagine like, you know, facing someone that you actually have animosity towards. Like if you think about like with the whole Matt Hardy versus Edge deal,
Yeah, I remember that. I forgot about that.
Matt Hardy was one half of the Hardy Boys, and he
Jeff and Matt, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And Lita, actually, she had a neck injury, and Edge previously had like an injury the same type, and they were kind of talking, and it's kind of crazy because the Hardy Boys, they grew up in their spot. I forget exactly where they came from.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
I know it
call.
was north or south. I
And-
didn't sure which one.
And then Edge and Christian, they're coming from Canada, and they're all roadies or whatever, and they end up intertwining, and they pretty much are building their careers off of being like tag team versus tag team.
Okay, right.
And Matt Hardy actually had a relationship with Lita. Lita was rolling with the Hardy Boys, and they had their thing going. And like I said, then they Lita and Edge had started, you know, kind of talking a little bit.
So it's because of a bitch.
Again, and we're talking about how this kind of relates to real life. So,
When you're around each other 300 days a year.
yeah, you start, yeah, exactly.
Stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, and
Start
so
not liking each other.
it actually happened behind the scenes, and they had a call. I think it was actually on an old podcast or type style podcast, even before I think podcasts were really like a thing. But Talking Smack
Yeah.
is what it was called, and they forced Lita and Edge and Matt Hardy to do this because the cat was already out of the bag with this whole deal. So they're like, "This is your guys' mess. You know, go out and pretty much make." I guess what they're trying to
amends.
say, a positive out of a negative, but it had those harsh words, and it was going back and forth, calling each other names.
I just
and it
heard
was getting
something
really heated
earlier. It was like Edge was like, "It's not my fault. You've only had one serious relationship, and you're 30 years old, or something like that." And,
Oh, shoot.
they were
cutting promos on each other right there.
Right, right, and it's just crazy because they ended up having to actually work with each other even more now, and it's like kind of resolve this type deal. And
Okay.
I mean, but I don't know if it was like actually like resolved. I'm sure like now, I mean, it's a whatever deal, but I mean,
But at the time, I mean, it
And
was for real.
Lita was rocking with Edge for a long time after that.
The sex show, remember that?
Yeah,
The what?
the sex show,
Oh.
Monday Night Raw, dude. There was
Just
kids in the
whenever I
crowd.
watch a little video like off Facebook or
I'll have to
something or
send you this
Instagram, and there is a girl. What's the one video where it's the two wrestlers, the girl and the guy, and you know they're kissing, they're making out, and then doesn't he like grab her or some shit or kick her or something? Fuck.
I'm trying. This one is Edge and Lita. There's like a bed in the ring.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, I've seen that video, and they're like literally taking
Yes.
their
Yeah,
clothes
yeah.
off. They got the blanket
Yes.
over them.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, to actually work, and you have to trust this person to slam you. You want to hit them, you want to hurt them, but you know you have to compose yourself in front of all these people. You got to slam this guy and make sure that he's okay, and that
Right.
trust factor that would be definitely hard.
Well, it's like you talked about the tombstone pile driver.
Right.
You got to know that guy's head is at a certain place so you don't snap his neck.
Totally.
Literally, yeah.
Right. And there's all kinds of moves like that you got to. I mean, I've been watching it long enough that I see moves that happen, and if one guy screws up, he's gonna be in a wheelchair.
Brock Lesnar landed that 5-star frog splash, and he did not land it right.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
I was
He
about
landed
to
on his
ask.
hand.
Yeah, I
Didn't
was
he
about to
do-
ask.
It wasn't just a 5-star. Yeah, it was
What's
like
it? Is it different? What's
I
it?
didn't
pretty
think
much like what a gainer is off of a
Yes,
diving
yes.
board.
I didn't think a guy.
Or a
I didn't think
forward
a guy
backflip.
his size could do something like
He
that.
is an amazing athlete because he was a wrestler. He
UFC
was a
heavyweight
regular,
champion.
like amateur wrestler, and then he went into the pro wrestling.
Played
then
for
he
the
went into
Vikings.
The UFC.
Well, not
Yeah.
like, kind of, I guess.
He had
Practice.
stomach issues or something. He had some disease, and he was off of everything for a long time. And he lost all of his body mass.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
crazy
was gonna
he's in
ask
here
you like
today.
what other can you think of like where even if it was like a slight, because I feel like there are some times where they do get hurt and like you can just see it on the person maybe like during a match where like maybe they got injured and you have to keep going.
What I've seen was I know the ref comes and like checks on them or something, and I forget.
He throws up at this.
Yes,
he throws up
if it's
an
a
X.
real.
If it's real, he looks back to the back and he throws up an X and says somebody's really hurt.
And then they what do they do? Just
They usually
try
go.
to like
They try to go to a finish immediately, like roll
Gotcha.
him up, and pin him now.
to get
They
it
Finish
try
over.
to
over.
finish it usually, but there's been matches where they just stop
Wow.
if it's that
real.
severe. Yeah.
Who was the famous wrestler? I think it maybe was someone from the Hart Dynasty.
Owen.
Owen
Who fell
Hart.
from the rafters.
Yeah, during the entrance, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He was the Blue Blazer. And he was supposed to come down. His entrance was he came down through the rafters. And when he did, he got so far and his harness broke. And he fell, I don't even know how
20,
many.
30?
Oh, probably 30 feet, if not more.
Onto just ground?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
not
he made
onto
the
the
ring,
ring.
but he hit. I think he also hit his head like back on the turnbuckle as well.
Did he die?
He died in the ring.
Yeah.
Is that what the fuck?
I
dude?
watched that
You
night.
watched
I
that?
had bought it as a, well, I shouldn't say as a kid. I was a little older then.
He said I was a full grown adult.
Yeah, I was.
but I was a kid at heart.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember buying that pay-per-view, and that happened, and you're just sitting there.
Does it just cut off right then and there?
No,
or
because
did it
they
kept
would
going?
go to like they were trying to go to other things to like, and
Distract.
you could just tell the rest of the night like all the broadcasters were just pale white because they knew he
Holy
died.
shit.
And then all the other guys, you know, they seen him wheeling him out in an ambulance, and they almost knew he was dead going out of there, and then they had to go perform. And his wife got a ton of money because
From
of all
them?
that.
Compensation.
Yeah,
right.
Wow.
yeah.
Holy shit, man.
It is
This
crazy.
is no joke. You know,
Right.
people can actually get injured.
I wanted to kind of. Were you watching a lot with the Attitude Era?
Yeah. Every Monday night.
I feel like that was that. Do you think that was as scripted, or do you think they could kind of fly off, off the rails with that one?
I think they flew off the rails
with
quite
the
a
tad
bit.
bit,
It just really went recently where it was more scripted and it just kind of got bland. And you don't like, I like wrestling where there's a long-term storyline,
right?
you know, where something will go on for a couple months and then you'll get a conclusion. But back then it would be like, you know, every other week you were wrestling the same guys over and over. Now the Attitude Era was all, I mean, I can remember so much stuff from the Attitude Era between the beer truck, the milk truck.
Yes.
milk truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Angle comes out with a milk truck.
Not the milk truck. He said, get him some milk.
Got
Doesn't
milk?
need milk.
Got milk.
God.
DX poured shit all over Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, the Spirit Squad.
I think that was more towards
It wasn't
the.
like, yeah, later on, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
in the Attitude
but
Era,
yeah.
He, like,
Still is
poured
funny.
shit on him?
Yeah, it just dropped. He's like, look up. And it's just like shit just fell on him. I don't know if it was actually poop
I mean,
particles or not.
I'm sure it was like pudding and shit.
Yeah.
It had corn in it.
It did have
Would you like to be that guy out back? I gotta mix the pudding and the corn. I'm the pudding and corn guy.
How do I harden it?
Oh, what that reminds me too is that you'll see a lot of wrestlers start off as one of those guys who are like one of the backstage guys, or like someone that's like a, or they'll have like a smaller, like a lower key job, like
Like you remember all the guys, like when the Undertaker would come out and he'd have all those druids, those guys in the
yep.
believe it or not, those were all like the young wrestlers that were just hoping to get jobs. They put them in a damn robe and you get to walk to the ring tonight.
right.
And
So
if
there's
like, if
tons
you're
of
good, if, just a little bit of like spark, or, 1 out of 10, 15 people, they look at you and they're like,
Or you could be that guy. Like, did you stir the shit good enough? Like
the
did
corn, the ratio,
Yeah,
is that right?
Was the corn shit ratio good enough for me to be a?
higher? sign here.
You'll see things like, I didn't even know this. Like do you remember when Bill Goldberg would come to the ring and, he'd have all the security and he'd be going down the hallway. So when I was a kid, I watched that and I never knew anything about, I mean, I liked it at the moment, but then they just showed where like one of the wrestlers that's big today, his name is MJF. He was one of the security guys and Goldberg slammed him against the wall. Oh. So as a kid or as a young, when he was first starting, that was his moment then. And now he's really big
Top
on
guy.
AEW. Now he's a real big guy on AEW.
That
Wow.
crazy. It was
Yeah,
like his
he's
moment
a top
to shine.
heel.
Might
Yeah.
have the tables have turned.
You got to
know?
take some shit sometimes. You know what I mean?
And then the terms, like, so there's other terms like babyface and heel.
Yeah.
The good guys
they
are the
just
baby
called
faces.
John Cena a baby face.
Yeah,
I'll
and
start-
the
yeah.
heels are the bad guy.
Okay.
So there's those are examples of terms, and who's going to go over tonight, the heel or the baby
You
face?
turn heel from the baby face.
Yeah.
And both are just as important because you need to have that reaction from the crowd. You need to have the fans invested in what's going on. I don't know how many times that I couldn't stand Edge.
Oh, I hated Edge.
Or Randy Orton or like.
Yeah, he's a menace.
What did
Yeah.
What were they doing? Like, what were they doing?
Just causing chaos.
Dude, yeah, it's like just ruining things, man. Like
It's so much harder to be the heel.
Oh, I
to be
bet,
the
yeah.
bad guy,
Right.
Because you gotta make people boo you. Where the good guys would come out and everybody loves the.
You
good
already
guy.
like them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I was listening to a thing over earlier about I was a big John Cena fan growing
Right.
up, and John Cena and Edge was a big rivalry, and Edge was wanting to become the babyface, like champion, like crowd favorite, but they needed him to be the heel because John Cena was
Rising.
coming up as the babyface, and he's like, God damn it, I have to play this, but I want to be the other one, and he had to play into it. Yeah, it was just a big.
And then there's always that moment when the heel becomes the baby face, when he comes out and he saves his old tag team
Yes,
partner
yes.
or something like that, and the crowd goes crazy.
yeah.
It's like we changed their mind.
We love
it
you
doesn't even
again.
matter. Like in a split second,
Right.
just
You can forget
changes.
every bad thing he ever did.
And
you know?
I believe they were trying to make Stone Cold a heel, and the fans just
like,
loved
yeah.
him.
He actually is
Okay.
what got him
how could
over
you hate
is
True.
he was the anti-hero. You know, he was the working class guy, and everybody wants the working class guy to go over on their boss. you know?
Think about it. Yeah.
Right.
So
So
everybody wants to kick their boss between the legs, you know. So when he went over, he became the anti-hero, and people
It's like a
just-
Batman almost. Like you're not like a
Vigilante.
hero, but you're vigilante.
Yeah.
Vengeance. I was gonna
No,
ask,
that's not Batman.
have you been to a match? Like have you been to a pretty decent?
Oh yeah, I've been to a ton. Now I've never been to a big.
Okay.
I always joke to my wife. I always like, you know, if WrestleMania comes to Indianapolis, I'm cashing in my 401k. And
Lifelong dream.
she's like, really? I'm like,
I'll back you
"No."
on that.
So like, what,
But I go to
what
I
size would you-
I'll go to the regular shows. I go to a lot of AEW. It's at the State Fairgrounds, and
cool.
they actually film the weekly show
Oh, okay.
that's there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, actually, SmackDown's coming. I want to say
November?
Lucas
Yeah,
Oil?
November. November.
No, they usually hold it in like Gamebridge or the Pacers, where the
Yeah.
Pacers play.
Okay. I mean, imagine a Lucas Oil. Just
That'd be where WrestleMania
Bro,
be
That
held.
would be
Yeah,
a
that would,
WrestleMania.
bro.
They would
I mean-
fill that place.
that would be an awesome opportunity, bro.
They I forget when it was. They hosted. Well, I don't know. It was probably the RCA Dome.
Right.
They
Yeah.
hosted a WrestleMania.
For real?
Yeah.
I went to the Great American Bash back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I forget which one it was. If it was Conseco, when it was
That's back
Conseco.
like Sting and Dusty Rhodes, and I'm trying to think of who else.
I want to say when you went to that.
Rey Mysterio lost his World Heavyweight title to
Daggone it.
King Booker.
Who'd he lose it to?
King Booker.
Yeah,
Booker T.
Booker
As a
T.
team.
Yeah, he was. He won the Royal
King-
Rumble and
King of
was
the Ring?
King. Yeah. Oh,
King
yeah.
Booker.
King of the Ring. That's right. Yeah. King
I hated it.
Booker.
I just despise
But he was a. I
Oh,
love.
he was cool when he was fucking back.
back like even.
He'd
I like
spin, his head dreads would go everywhere.
Spin-a-rooney.
The Spin-a-rooney.
Yeah. And his scissor kick, bro.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Other
yeah,
people
yeah.
would try the spin-a-rooney. It's pretty much like a dance move or whatever. Like
They
Break-
do
it's like
be
break
doing
dancing.
that shit,
you do
bro.
it. You try it.
And he's like, "Whoa."
Kane does the spin-a-rooney or some shit. I love
Kane was scary.
Kane was scary. I do want to go over some like
Some scary ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to bring up while we're on Booker T. Two videos that I love is Stone Cold versus Booker T in a grocery store match.
I remember that.
Why are you? I got animosity at a
Yeah,
grocery store.
bro,
I'm trying to
they're
get my
just
vegetables.
Wrecking the grocery store, throwing flour on
Right.
dude, Booker T gets his ass whooped, but
Hitting each other with pie sheets.
Side note: whose house did they go into for when they were? Was it Triple H going to someone's house? It was in a house.
There was a
and they were fucking-
morgue.
Whoa.
They
had a
go
fight
to
in a
crazy
morgue.
places.
That's just
there was a few
disrespectful
times.
almost.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mr. McMahon is a giant kid, is what Mr. McMahon is. He loves that. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh,
Well, he's done. He's done now.
Yeah.
And what? How? Why?
Retired?
Whatever.
Well, there's all these controversies with him right now. I guess they're finding out that, of course, I don't know. I want to say it's a $1 billion company,
Yeah.
and they're finding out that he was taking money and shuffling it around to pay for his sexual escapades.
Yeah.
And he wasn't
Hushing.
like, he wasn't recording it in the proper column.
He said, "I'll take care of it."
It was employees, wasn't it? Like
some people, some employees, like he paid one lady off, and then he gave another lady like a better job, and so it's all coming to light. Like right now, that's the mainstream media. It's coming out. So the shareholders just made Triple H pretty much. Him and Stephanie are pretty much in charge of it with another guy by the name of last name of Khan.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I know
not
what
a
you're talking
good
about.
last
Yeah,
name.
exactly. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mr. Khan.
So now the WWE
Genghis.
is on a total like kind of a makeover. Like they're changing their ways.
I hear you.
another Booker T one that I wanted to bring up was he's talking to Hulk Hogan.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
he's
yeah.
shouting him out, and he's feeling himself, man. He's really amped up. He said, "And Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, knuckle." I said, "Hush." He said, "Hush, shit."
I've seen
You
that
could tell he
video.
like straight up, "Oh
Is
shit."
there a lady right next to him?
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
like,
But he had so
He
much
was in the
built
moment.
up,
Yeah.
like, and you could tell he had straight regret after he said that.
and let's get it all clear. Jared just said that. Just Jared. Who
So
are some other villains? You know what I mean? Like all time. You know what I mean? Like just always been.
Andre was a villain. He went from
Okay.
a good guy to a bad guy.
okay,
So he was a bad guy. I remember as a kid, like almost in tears when he was on a show. It was a segment called Piper's Pit.
Yeah,
And Roddy
yep.
Piper would have them both on. And as a kid, he grabbed Hulk Hogan's cross and he ripped it off. And I was just like devastated. I was like, ugh.
no,
They're playing on religion and shit too. Like, dang.
So he was a bad guy for a while. Roddy Piper.
Yep,
He was
yeah,
an
Roddy.
awesome bad guy.
Rest
Yeah.
in peace. Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which was weird that they had Ronda as to
Yeah. Well, he.
Rowdy, I guess.
Yeah, well,
Ronda
when
Rousey.
he was still alive when she came in.
Okay.
So he like the story with that is he gave her the gimmick. He's like, I'm passing my gimmick to you.
I see.
Because I'm not going to use it no more. So that's when
That's
she
fair.
started coming out with the bagpipes.
Oh,
and
okay.
And so they do that with moves. It's more respected to do that
Yes.
with moves.
You want to get permission to use a move. If you go out there and you use somebody else's finisher,
It's no.
It's not gonna be good
bueno.
for
Everyone's got their own like
Finishing
finisher
move.
that has
Yeah.
a name to it. Like, oh my god, it's about to hit the F.
It's like
Some
playing-
like
Right.
Mortal Kombat
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
Mortal
You wouldn't
Kombat.
see a different Mortal Kombat character using fucking, someone else's finish.
Actually,
Finish him.
what's the old guy's name? He was like the leader of the whole tournament. He could
Oh.
Yeah.
he could turn into
He
the
could do
people and then use their
anyone's-
power and stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I see it. I see what you're saying.
That's
not
okay.
not typically.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think there's been cases where people have used other people's move and it wasn't passed down to them. And
Yeah.
Undertaker, like I think Undertaker would do what's it called in the back? Like they would have like the wrestler's court or something. Like if something was bad, like that happened that you weren't supposed to do in the ring, they would take it backstage and they would pretty much like have
a court right there.
yeah, and like
Guilty.
get this
People's court.
because a lot of people respected Undertaker, so like he was kind of like the guy everybody like looked up to.
I could
suppose.
see that. I could see
Yeah,
that.
probably like pulling,
No, you're good.
twisting volumes and.
But I'm trying to think of other bad guys. When I was a
Bad
kid, it was
guys.
King Kong Bundy. He's just this huge, fat dude.
You know who I really, really did not like? JBL, man. JBL, I could not stand JBL, dude. He's, I guess, like the millionaire Texas.
Like a cocky.
Kinda like the $1 million man.
Yeah, kind of. And then
Southern.
$1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Did he turn? Was he a villain
He's
at
a
one
villain.
point? Okay.
Yeah, he'd buy everybody off. He'd have his bag.
Yeah,
his briefcase full of
everybody's
money.
got
a
Everybody's
price.
got a price.
That's some like mafia shit, bro.
Right.
He had $1 million like a money like belt. Like it was.
Yeah,
cool.
he
That's-
created
Yeah, it
his
was,
own
yeah.
belt and
Yeah,
had a
that's
money symbol on it.
Pretty
That's
hard.
another
though.
thing, like the different championships that go through the WWE is pretty cool. Like just to watch them change hands and stuff like that, and see the lineage of like WWE champions from now until like the '80s and stuff like that. It's pretty cool to go through and see who's all held it.
How consistent is like with UFC? They'll have fights where people are almost like moving up the ladder, but then we obviously know there's title fights only blank amount of times. How is like WWE with you saying
With like title fights.
yeah, like how does that work? What's the like
they'll
what's the
ju-
schedule? What's
every,
the plan?
I mean, usually the pay-per-views are title fights. they have title fights, and then like sometimes during the week they will like on a special occasion like, oh, it's the WWE Championship tonight or something like
But
that.
you know, a belt very rarely switches hands on a Monday night.
Right.
It's usually
True.
on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They want to have
Sunday
that
night.
money.
And how
towards it.
consistent was that? Like since you've seen.
It's still the
more.
same. I mean, yeah.
What is
you don't-
that? Like weekly?
I mean,
times a month?
your champion usually wrestles through the week, and but always pay-per-views. I mean, anybody with a belt is on a pay-per-view.
Roman Reigns,
usually.
the big one right now.
Yeah.
I think, right?
How many like big pay-per-views would there be like a month or?
Well, it used to be, there was one a month because it was just money.
Gotcha.
You know?
So you'd have like roughly 12
Yeah,
a year.
you got like everyone, and the WrestleMania is always in April, like the spring.
That's
the
like when the
big one.
WWE went to that whole $9.99 monthly subscription. I was like, yes,
Right?
because I was shelling out $50-$60 a month,
Right.
And that's
for
what
these
the
pay-per-views.
UFC
Yeah,
should
the
do.
UFC should do that.
Yeah,
Everything else is a subscription. Like,
I would pay for Fight Pass if I got pay-per-views.
right.
It'd be
of
easy.
course I would.
Were you a big ECW guy?
No.
Did not mess
I
with
never
it.
see. I never watched
started when
back
they
in the
started
day.
that Monday Night War. Is what got me to start turning the channel, because when WWE would go to commercial, I'd flip over there and watch Sting and those guys wrestle, and then they'd go to commercial and I'd flip back.
Right.
So when they did that Monday Night War thing that they were doing, it really was real because they were drawing viewers back and forth.
Right.
But I never really stuck much with WCW. I
Yeah.
never really hung with it.
And it was like a short, like, did they have like a short stint compared? I mean, I guess compared to the other ones, obviously SmackDown and Raw is all still running and stuff. But then there was like, I don't know if it was a pay per view though, like Heat.
Oh yeah,
and
that's like a remember
Saturday
Taboo
night.
Tuesday.
Taboo Tuesday,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, they had some.
See, I don't
some-
remember a lot of their
They're just
filler.
like different.
pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I remember they like Bash at the Beach.
Saturday
Right.
Night Main Event. They did
I
that.
used
like,
to stay up for that. That was WWE,
Right.
WWF at the time.
Yeah.
They got sued for that. That's why they changed their name.
They got
World
sued.
Wildlife Federation
Right.
sued them.
They said, "Motherfucker, we ain't playing around."
Yeah. That was definitely a bigger company.
There's this funny meme where there's two pandas and they're trying to hit each other with steel chairs. It says WWF.
What was the F supposed to stand for the wrestling?
Federation.
Oh, Federation.
Fuck. World Wrestling. Fuck. Yeah, so I did like, there were a few mentionable names with ECW that I liked. Rob Van Dam,
Yep.
like you said, Sting. I don't know how I felt about Tommy Dreamer, but he's definitely like a mention. You know, he's definitely
Tommy
an
Dreamer
OG.
was real big in ECW.
Yeah.
And that's another extreme company. Like back in the day, if you didn't want to watch WWE, if you wanted to watch guys beat the hell out of each other with what they call kendo sticks and all
Yep.
these things, it was ECW is where you would go see Tommy Dreamer. There was a guy named Sandman.
Sandman would beat the can on his
Yeah,
head.
he would drink. He'd be kind of like a Stone Cold. He'd be drinking like 3 beers and he'd bust a can over his head.
And draw blood right then and there with the can.
Perfect.
Like, so I don't think that was
You remember
fake.
Rey
I don't-
Mysterio versus Sabu? That was
Sabu,
a
that's what I was about to
crazy
say, yeah.
fucking match.
And like, wow, what a matchup, because Sabu was crazy. Talk about the
He
kendo
was like
stick.
this
Yeah.
Arabian guy. He had a headdress on. And he'd come out and fucking. He was like a high flyer.
He'd
so
have-
they
he
both were kind of like
He had the Aladdin pants on. I'm sorry if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
is that
We're
racist.
not-
If I
we're
say it, I'm
not,
sorry.
you
No,
know,
I'm just saying
stereotyping.
it's
It's just
It's
what
just
he
way
had
to
on.
describe him.
that's how I can.
Like as a kid, the Iron Sheik. When I would watch the Iron Sheik,
Yeah.
I mean, he was just like everybody hated that guy.
And that's what he
Really?
was meant to
yeah,
do.
and that's
You can't be a good guy by the name of
And it's-
Iron Sheik.
especially during or in that
in
time.
the 80s. It was a big between Russia and the Middle East
Yeah.
and all that. And they had another guy. It was Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov was the Russian, and he had the big fur hat.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
played on that shit kind of
Oh,
during
yeah.
the
They
different
played
time
into
zone,
it.
like different times. Of
Yeah.
just like
Is when Sergeant Slaughter would step in. You're
Yeah.
like, I ain't having this.
was he like a military almost like?
Yeah,
He'd have the hat on and the chin.
Oh, look at that!
right here.
You got a picture of it?
Right here, that's Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter
Oh,
right there.
it is. What size is that, bro? Is that
Large.
say nagget or
Maggot.
a different word that rhymes with
Eddie's-
nagget?
Eddie's maggot.
Oh man, that one's dope.
Gosh, there's so many like different stories, so many just different things to go into. I do want to get to the scary wrestlers because there was
Yeah, I mean,
talking about keeping that persona. being such a nasty, vile creature.
Like you can be a villain, but you aren't necessarily
One
scary.
of my earliest WWE memories was watching the Undertaker come out. Like they'll be like having like a match, and all of a sudden the lights will go out,
and everyone's scared.
and then it'll
that
come back
bell
on. He's
hits-
fucking there.
He's in the ring.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh shit!
I like on the
They'll turn
game.
around.
I got that WWE 2K22, and there's if you're getting beat up and you're the Undertaker, you can press this you can press a button where the lights do shut off, and then you'll just pop up somewhere else and just be completely fine, like standing behind them or whatever, and go and attack you.
Power bars all the way up.
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Like what?
It's another version of me.
Really, dude, he's the phenom. That would be, how intimidating would that be to step up to the Undertaker? What a legend, you know what I mean? And that even there's a match between him and Jeff Hardy where Jeff Hardy pretty much it's Jeff Hardy earning his respect to all the the WWE universe, and by a way that they did that was after Taker beat him, he could have popped him another good one and really shut him down, but instead Taker just went and raised his hand up and was you
got
know,
my respect.
Yeah,
The Undertaker had what they call the streak.
Yeah.
The WrestleMania streak. He was undefeated at WrestleMania for a long, long time. I'm not
And
sure when it
remember
ended.
when that came to an end. It was, once again, I rented the pay-per-view and I'm watching it, and it was like everybody was in shock. He got
they didn't
beat.
expect
He's
that.
like, I don't know what the streak was. It was 24
Yeah, a long
WrestleManias in a
time.
row.
Damn.
He'd laid everybody to waste, and then all of a sudden Brock Lesnar
It was Brock Lesnar.
beat him, and everybody. I mean, even everybody in my house. I had people over, and we're all just like, everybody's just numb. That didn't happen. That was a fluke.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
screwed up.
I did see a documentary of the Undertaker saying that, I don't know if what was actually scripted, but his body had given out to where he wanted to be at that top ability, but I mean the age had just gotten to him for so many years, and he thought he was ready to be in there, and his body literally gave out during that match against Brock Lesnar. He just could not keep up with Brock Lesnar in that intensity at that moment.
Right.
I believe he faced him another year, right after that, and he wanted to try to outdo his last performance
Right.
of
I
some
don't know if
sort
he ever
of.
did though.
Did he?
I don't.
No,
They might have had
he-
the match, but I don't know that he
did
went
never.
over.
Right.
Go through.
But that's sad to see too, because
Yeah.
If you ever want to watch a good movie about wrestling,
Yeah.
it's called The Wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey
Yeah.
Rourke.
You know what's
It's
a
very good movie.
newer one that's good? The Peanut Butter Falcon with
Yes.
I haven't seen
you watched that?
That's a good
I've heard
movie.
that's
Bro,
good.
It's a good movie.
That's tell me you
really
didn't
good
cry
movie.
at one point.
Yeah,
You
that's
cried.
a really good movie.
It's got Shia LaBeouf in it, right?
Shout out
And-
Kyle Prine.
Yep, Kyle Prine, and man, it was. Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
What I liked about that movie, The Wrestler, with Mickey Rourke, was showing how much the toll would
Toll
be
on their body, and then there's no. The reality is they use them up and they
Yeah.
spit them out of the
Yeah.
system, and then nobody takes care of them. And I hope I see in the future where they start taking, and I think they are more now than what they did, but they take care of the guys with health insurance and
Right.
because they got to cover their own medical.
Wow.
I don't know if most people know that.
I didn't know that
A lot
at
of
all.
times, and wrestlers have to pay for their own travel, their own hotel. I mean, they get a big chunk of money, but they
Yeah,
still got to
yeah.
set so much aside, and even their health stuff, they
That's
don't get paid
huge,
for it.
yeah.
They're considered
like
forget what it-
freelance
like,
athletes.
yeah,
or some
exactly.
shit.
Wow.
That's what they're
That's a
almost
good way to put
considered.
it.
But then they're not allowed to do any of their own stuff either. So
So
they
you're
can't
like
make any
signed.
side hustles.
Yeah.
Like WWE don't let them do Twitch, the Cameo.
You know how much money
get-
they would make through these just
but
from
I think
their
they're getting ready to start
persona.
letting them do it, but they weren't. They shut it all down.
Wow.
That's like college, like sports almost. You know what I mean?
Starting to let them
College
have
sports.
some of the money they make.
and like being able to capitalize on your name,
Image.
on your name and your
Name, image,
image.
likeness.
There you go.
NIL. That's what it's called.
Even
Yeah.
even the tattoos in the video games were a problem because
really?
the tattoo artists felt that they needed
Credited.
rights
Yeah.
because
I didn't know that.
they did
I'd
the
say
ink.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
the company's monetizing off of your image.
Rey Mysterio had some dope tats.
Oh, yeah.
He had some
So
cool
does
tats.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he has
His
some cool
back.
tats too.
Oh
that
yeah,
back's badass.
yeah.
That is, yeah.
One thing that I did enjoy was I don't even know what to call it. Like, I guess we could call them flops, maybe, or like how like let's just say like the reaction of whenever
Super
someone
late
would
and
get
shit.
like rock bottom or someone. When you get stunned, when The Rock would get stunned by Stone Cold, and how well The Rock would play off of the stun.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like he just get like straight, and then just like slow motion fall to his. Ric Flair was really good at it too.
Man,
Shawn
I've
Michaels
seen some
is
videos
good.
of that where he's
Yeah,
like
Shawn Michaels was good.
falling forward for a minute. And
Dude,
then it's
he'll
like,
he'll walk like a zombie for like 10 steps, and then look at the crowd and be like.
Right, it's almost like a cartoon,
Right.
like Roadrunner against Coyote. You know, yeah.
it's like meant to be.
It's kind of silly in that
Oh,
sense, but it's like,
they like try to pin him like 1, 2, and then he'll get his arm up and be like,
what?
The crowd will go crazy. Yeah, he's like, what? It's just like the wide receiver that don't get the call.
Because of pass interference. And then you think about basketball is going to tie in the flopping to basketball. You're getting a foul. You're not getting foul. Like you're not getting fouled. You're getting the foul. You're initiating it, or you're flopping. You know what I mean? Someone's driving and then you fall down on the ground. They call a foul. But reality, you did that. You sold it. You acted.
Sold it.
You
Yeah.
literally sold it to where everyone knows it's fake. It's like you
Like
give and
Aljamain
take.
Sterling getting kneed by what's his name?
Peter Yan.
Yeah, Peter Yan. So obviously there's all kinds of crazy matches with wrestling. What's your favorite type of match style? Whether it be a steel cage, whether it be
Oh wow.
a TLC,
Tender loving
Hell in a Cell.
tables,
Well,
ladders,
as much as
chairs.
I don't want to admit it, as much as I don't want to admit it, I told you that I get the heebie-jeebies when they break out the tacks.
Yeah.
But it's like a car wreck. You want to see it.
Right,
You're driving by and you're like, I got to look at this.
We can talk about Mick Foley a little bit. He's
Mick
so
Foley,
crazy.
man.
That was like, for me, that the one fall that he took. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
break
Off
it
the
down.
top of the,
He was wrestling the Undertaker, and
Okay.
they got on top of the cage, on top of the steel cage, and you could see the cage bending. And previous to them getting up there, he had thrown a bag of tacks underneath onto the mat. So what happened is, it wasn't supposed to happen. Undertaker picked him up and slammed him, and the cage broke.
Buckled, yeah.
And if you ever look it up on YouTube, it's one of the most amazing things to see. And he went through and actually like landed on those tacks. Plus, I don't know if it was 30, 40 feet up in the air.
big.
Is this a moment, or shortly after that they tried to bring out the stretcher and tried to pull him into the backstage?
And he wouldn't do it. He's
Mick
like,
Foley.
I gotta finish.
He's like getting
Once
him
again,
off of him, pushing him off.
It's probably, if you look it up, it's probably
for
his
real.
great. He's not proud of it now, but because he's had so many other amazing things, but it's what he's most noted for.
Right. And Mick Foley, man, again with the personas, dude. This dude's Dude Love,
Mankind,
Mick Foley,
Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack, dude. He's all these different characters, and really, I feel like he's the epitome of what a wrestler is, even though he's not the biggest,
Yeah, he
most
doesn't have the
jacked
body.
guy, right? And he's not a high flyer either. But what he is he'll take the punishment. Like
Right.
he'll go in there and he'll do whatever it takes to entertain the fans. And I feel like that's what a wrestler, you know.
And that was kind of his gimmick, as the multiple personalities. You never knew who was coming to the ring.
Was it like a Royal Rumble, and he came in as like almost every.
He came in on like each personality. Yeah,
Dude Love.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get he had different like
Well, so in the Royal Rumble, like what it is like it's a 30-man battle royale, and they'll start with 2 guys,
Gotcha.
and every minute.
They'll introduce a new guy to the ring until
To
it's
who
like,
wins?
I don't know if it's 30 guys. I don't know how many guys.
30 guys, but I think they have different style battle royals where it's like either you could do like 10, 15, but I
Right.
think Royal Rumble's 30, and this dude fucking gets eliminated as one.
Goes backstage, gets dressed, and comes out as a different personality.
and he'd do that like multiple
3 times. He'd come out in 3 different
People
personalities.
would be like, "Oh,
Can you look up Mankind for me?
that's fucking funny."
Mankind looks sick, bro. Like,
There is a fucking fly.
I hope it doesn't mess up.
Yeah, I was
our-
about to say it might
I
mess
think
it
it was
up.
when I opened it up. I think it said it's already open. My computer's not very good.
There's a fly like in your mouth, bro.
in your mouth.
There's a fucking fly over here. You're gonna get them.
Don't do it. Your headphones.
They're stretchy.
Your mic's. There you go. Now stretch.
This is mankind.
There's
It's over.
mankind.
Dude comes out all wonky and sideways. Like,
Look at his fucking
Yeah.
face. He's got a sock on.
That's
his
Mr.
fucking-
Socko.
His move with that sock is he would choke it. He put that dirty sock in your mouth.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't
Like,
you dare put a dirty
there's-
sock in my fucking mouth, bro. I'll tap.
And he would always come out with this most yellow, disgusting sock.
oh gosh, Cactus Jack. Now that you're bringing that up, the different, various moves that are.
There's his three personalities.
Dude love.
The dude, what's the fucking the one on the left?
Oh, it's just that's just Mick
He was
Foley.
just hardcore.
That's him.
He was the hardcore guy.
He's actually written books.
He's written kids books and like bestseller kids. books.
Damn, his fucking head.
Look at him with the barbed wire. The third
So
photo.
that match
Oh,
there,
shit.
I don't know if that's the one in Japan that he wrestled, where he's in a barbed wire match, and he actually had his ear ripped off. It got tangled in the barbed wire, and his ear he went out back, and half of his ear was missing.
It's crazy. There he
Holy
goes.
shit. Oh, that's a small little ear now. Why do he look like Christian Bale right up there for a second? That looked like a Christian Bale. That one right there. Looks like Christian Bale playing him.
Christian Bale could
Christian
play
Bale.
any character probably. He
really
could probably do it. I wanted to bring up Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, he's another of my favorites.
Let's see what he looks like. Jake that is not how you spell. Yeah.
It's all good. So who was it that he sicked the snake on?
Macho Man.
So he actually brought a snake out.
Yeah, he brought cobras.
That's like a Burmese python, right?
Yeah.
There goes Hacksaw Jim Duggan, right?
If you look up, you might be able to find the picture of Randy Macho Man Savage and Jake the Snake, and you can actually see that snake bit onto his arm, and it wouldn't let go.
Yeah.
Bro.
Right
Look at
there.
Look, that looks fucking fake, bro.
It
But it
wasn't.
wasn't.
God. Dude.
And he made Jake. The story goes, once again, there's been documentaries and stuff. I'm sure
That's
Jared might have
scary.
seen it on Peacock, but
go down, Vince.
he made
Second
Jake
one.
the Snake actually make that snake bite him backstage to show that there was no venom in it.
Because he was
They
like,
took
bro,
the
I don't know.
He's like,
what's
you
up."
do it on you because I want to know that there's no venom in that snake.
That's fair.
He said, this is a non-venomous snake. So I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I just picked up the wrong bag.
He brought some venomous,
Yeah.
some non.
Got like 10 different snakes in burlap sacks if you want
He
one.
mixes
And
them
Jake,
around.
Jake
Choose
would always
which
have
one.
stories like, that he would have like that bag that he would keep it in. He would pound on the bag to piss the snake off.
Oh,
so that if
yeah.
that snake would get out, it would just be pissed off.
Oh my gosh. Look how scary that snake looks, Barnes, where the mouse is.
It almost looks like a hand puppet, actually.
It does. That's what I'm saying. He's talking to him. He said,
Yeah. Bitten.
He's like, I need a Slim Jim.
he looks like he'd eat a Slim Jim right,
Right
there.
there.
The first picture.
Right?
I want to edit that to where it's a Slim,
Slim
Jim,
Jim.
instead. I know you could do it. Slim Jim.
I was a big fan of Elimination Chamber. I felt like that crucial structure was
I like that a lot.
hard to not. It's just so respected to see. Look at that.
Huge. It was like glass.
Like glass chambers.
Yes, inside, and after a certain time, one person got let out. And so there'd be
After they
six
got
people,
beat?
I think.
Or what?
No,
It's
trying to
kind of
think how
like
it was.
it would start 2 guys in the ring, 4 guys in each little chamber, and as time would go on,
Your chamber would open and you would get released.
it would
Okay.
draw a random person, let them out.
yeah, wouldn't it light up?
Yeah,
And,
like
when you're getting
beep,
released?
and then the door would open. And I remember one guy, he slammed another guy and he busted the plexiglass and he fell through, and the other guy's inside beating the hell out of the
Yeah.
other guy.
Damn.
Rob Van Dam, whenever it was an early Elimination Chamber match, he wanted to try. They lit these guys in to obviously fill the ring out to try to see what they could do inside the ring, and Rob Van Dam wanted to jump off of one of the top of the chambers, but the way the height was of the chamber, he couldn't get that type of air. So I believe like he really messed up, and I think it injured him pretty bad.
I remember him having back issues for some reason. Maybe I think
One of a
I can't
kind.
remember. Yeah.
Rob Van Dam. What about those? Like, what
Like
type of
songs
different sayings?
Yeah,
you know
I
what
guess
I mean?
so,
Do you
yeah.
guys?
Phrases and sayings
Yeah,
and
phrases.
stuff.
Obviously,
Because everyone had
Well,
like their
everybody got
own
in trouble
one.
in high school or in school because of the DX. Suck it.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
You know how many times kids got sent to the principal's office for that?
I have a guy at work that just did that to me today. He just fucking walked by.
How dare you?
Fuck you.
I just, hey, dog,
then-
you can't
and
see
then-
me. Like,
Everything that come out of the Rock's mouth
Was a saying.
was
Yeah.
a saying. I mean,
literally the most electrifying man. Like, I believe that.
yeah.
And Stone Cold 316 said so.
Yeah, which was actually wasn't that somebody else's?
That was Jake the Snake. He was going through this. He did a religious gimmick.
You're right.
And he was out there and
With
he
the
was given
snake?
these. He was given these like Bible verses.
With the snake.
And so then, who was we just talking about?
Stone
Cold.
Stone Cold beat him in the match, I think, and then that's when he said,
Yeah.
16 said, I just whooped your ass.
Yes, Stone, which is a little sacrilegious if you think about it, but also
But
at the
that's
same
what
time,
put him, that took him
it
to the
stuck.
next level.
Got
right?
you.
Right. That one night and that one statement just took him to be a superstar.
And he had a different gimmick before that. He had like long, shaggy hair.
Yeah,
He's
he's
talking
like
about Stone
blonde,
Cold.
like surfer type look.
Yeah,
Dead.
just didn't have like that catch to it. Like,
Gotcha.
Then you put on the boots, the fucking knee pads, the jean shorts,
Yeah,
vest.
yeah.
That vest is badass.
Took
What did
off.
John Cena say?
That
I
was
mean,
the you
everyone. I
can't
mean,
see me.
yeah, you
Can't
can't
see
see me.
me.
That turned into like a fucking cultural and like a meme, into like people literally took, and he's talked about it. We're like, you know, people talk about in the pictures like, oh, why is this person smiling next to nobody?
He came in as like a rap
rap
like
guy.
gangster guy.
Oh yeah, I remember that shit.
And then he became like
Word life.
the man.
It's the basic
Yeah.
thugonomics. It's the basic thugonomics. It's honestly cringy.
so
Speaking of that, what's your favorite theme song?
yes, that's what I
Like
was
your
gonna say,
entrance
too.
song, I guess. Like
My favorite theme, entrance.
That's
I guess it
tough.
could be either era. I mean, like
We can
old
just
ones.
start spitting them out.
Yeah, multiple ones. Yeah, definitely does have to come down to your absolute favorite.
I love Kane's old one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Now, one of my favorites is back in the day when I think it was Edge and Christian were with a guy named Gangrel.
Oh.
And they came in as vampires.
The Brood.
Oh,
The
shit.
Brood. And the music they would play, they'd come up through the floor.
Yeah.
And they would have all this smoke. And the music they would play, I mean, it'd make the hairs on the back of your neck.
It was
So
like kind of creepy.
They would drink
Yeah.
blood.
It's like, yeah, they had these big
Kool-Aid
goblets full
shit.
of blood.
Which reminds me of Edge's. You think you know me?
That's a good one. Fucking rated R superstar.
On this day.
Randy Orton's is
Yeah, Randy
Jared
Orton's
was
is
into
big.
it as a kid.
No, the kid with the headphones, that little black kid on, it's just a meme or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah.
and he's
He's
turning the
playing it.
volume up. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? That type shit.
Yeah.
But Randy Orton's was pretty cool.
What was his?
Christian. Break down the walls. You know what I'm talking. It's like they had like the countdown.
Oh,
That was
you're talking about,
older one. Chris Jericho.
Chris
Yeah.
Jericho, yeah.
Yeah.
Break
He's
the
got-
walls down. Break
White
down
suit
the
Jericho,
walls.
Jericho
Yeah.
walls.
Yeah, Walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Which is a dope move too.
Now he's
has
still
a
doing.
W.
Now he's still wrestling in AEW,
Really?
and he's
Right on.
over big for his age. He's still killing it.
Damn,
Right
that's dope.
Is he have problems with the WWE now? Like, I
No.
think, is there a...
No, he's still. I think he'd go. I think he might eventually go back. He
Okay.
wrestles everywhere. New Japan, AEW.
I think like there was
WWE.
just a little thing because he spoke candidly on because he's got a podcast as
Right.
well.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I haven't actually checked.
Talk
He goes
about
over
favorite
everything.
announcers.
Yeah, that is a good one too. Jim
Do you
Ross,
guys
man.
know who Mauro Ronaldo is?
That sounds.
He
that
does
name
like a
sounds
lot of
familiar.
boxing and UFC. He was in the WWE wrestling.
Oh,
He is
really?
a great announcer.
Really?
I grew
Yeah.
up with like Jerry the King Lawler, Jim Ross.
Puppies.
Yeah.
Every week it was that.
He'd see a diva and her boobs are out. He'd be like, puppies.
Like the puppies. That's what I'm gonna call them next. He's like, hey girl, show me them puppies. So like, I do have two.
Who was on SmackDown when we were kids?
Oh my
I
gosh.
can't remember. I know Teddy Long was a big
Manager.
Any of those
Yeah,
announcers.
it'd be like a WWE superstar would win a match, and then Teddy Long would come out. And he'd be like, "Listen, player, I know you just won the match, but I'm gonna send somebody else out to." And then, like he'd like put a reverse card on them, pretty much.
You gotta go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, what? How? What?
Straight Uno'd his ass.
Yeah. But announcer wise, it was weird. JBL became an announcer.
Oh, yep, that's right. I forgot about that.
I just remember Jim Ross.
Yeah, Jim Ross.
Taz is a good
Taz,
one.
yeah, he was on
announcing for
SmackDown.
AEW right now.
Oh, really?
Okay,
That's
right
a
on.
good one. I
His
liked
son
him.
wrestles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's cool. Damn, that just reminded me for some reason. Bam Bam Bigelow.
They do
yeah,
look similar.
right.
Flames on the
Yeah,
head.
with he's got tattooed.
I guess
flames
he was
on
like
his
a
head.
real badass. Like even outside the ring,
He
would
he
just
looks
beat
like
people
one.
up.
He's like,
He just beat, come here.
Yeah. He's like from Asbury Park, and he would just like, and he would just beat the shit out of anybody.
Perfect. That's my kind of guy.
I love when they would say that. Yeah, from places unknown.
Yeah, you would get if you like had like a favorite person. I would. At least
You'd memorize
myself,
everything
Yeah,
about
so you'd
them.
memorize like their height, weight,
Weight.
where they were
So
from.
you could tell it
Yeah,
off the
you would just
bird,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
From the Isle of Tonga.
John Cena was like West Newbury, Massachusetts. I always
Yeah,
fucking remember that.
yeah.
Where's that?
We're in Massachusetts.
I know, but I couldn't put Massachusetts on a map. I'm gonna be honest.
They're like northeast.
All up. Yeah.
Exactly. They're all the same.
Up with all the little states.
The little, that's what I'm saying. The little ones. I don't know.
Snitsky, man.
Oh yeah.
Nasty. I just wouldn't even want to wrestle like some of these guys, like Umaga, like
Well,
just
Rikishi.
Rikishi.
Put
Yeah,
his
that's
butt
one.
in your face.
Oh, yeah. Ew. No.
Yeah, Umaga died. Rest in
died?
peace.
Oh, rest in
Rikishi's
peace.
Dead, I think.
Rikishi.
How do you spell it out? Sorry.
Do we need consent from WWE for this? No, I'm just kidding. It's all public
Vince
information.
can pay us off.
Yeah. Snitsky, bro, his teeth were
Oh,
gnarly.
that one right there.
Yeah, to the
All
right.
the way to the right.
Oh, that one.
I think he's paralyzed now.
Really?
I think he's in a wheelchair and he looks like he weighs $125.
Damn.
There, have you seen like, because obviously like let's not kid ourselves. There was a lot of wrestlers that were on the juice,
Right.
And,
Right.
them
Drugs
coming
and stuff.
off of the juice and like seeing their bodies like so
Completely changed.
Yeah, so like they would look rough, man. And I just wonder like seeing those guys these days, like
Well, look up Lex Luger and then like back in the day and then look at him today. He's in a wheelchair too.
yeah,
Do like back then versus now.
Lex Luger.
Well, Lex Luger
Today,
now.
yeah.
Then and now. Perfect. Wow.
Dude,
Yeah, he was roided, ripped.
You wouldn't even recognize him.
Jeez, look at that.
Holy shit. So what was up with that back then? Like WWE just kind of like, who gives a shit? Do the roids.
The
Or did
roids
they
were
try to get
huge
away
back
with
in
it?
the day, and then they started cracking down on it, and you could seriously see the body types change.
Wow.
Just like I'm assuming, like baseball,
right,
Yep.
right.
Yep, very much.
like Barry Bonds' head
Anybody-
size.
Some of these, whoever Olympics, in the Olympics, I'm
Yep.
sure it's not even as. I feel like people like with the Olympics, they're all for it. Yeah, America or
Right.
whatever team
Patriotism.
that
Russia's over there doping the whole time.
Yeah, all of them, all
Oh,
of
yeah,
them,
all of 'em, yeah.
and then
It should just be called the Dope Olympics.
yeah, right.
Everyone would watch it.
Almost. Oh, you got it.
Bro, I thought I did.
Felt like you did.
I know. I think I clipped his wings.
Every episode, no matter where we're at, there's a fly.
Bro, what's up with that?
You guys haven't seen the Fly movie yet. You guys need to watch it. It's
Ew,
a good
if
one.
it has a fly in it, I don't
Jeff
wanna watch
Goldblum.
it.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. And
That's creepy.
do you know the woman? She was Stuart Little's mom. She was also in.
From a
I
fly
see
to a
the meme.
mouse.
Yeah, right. She was also in.
I see the memes like, we're going to an orphanage. Let's pick a mouse. And they take the mouse home. They'll just tell all the kids.
That's fucked up. Yeah, we'll take the little guy.
We'll take the fucking virus, bacteria
Yeah,
infested
right.
creature
Get a
over there.
kid. Damn.
As a kid, you see a rat get taken out.
Man, there's again so many stories.
UFC. I think or UFC.
The-
WWE. You covered a lot though, man.
I'm hoping that with the new age, you know,
I don't know. I don't think you're going to get what you want.
What's the future? Yeah, what's the future?
I don't think you're going to get what you want because of the whole corporate. You know, you got USA Network, and
Yeah.
they're not going to let you say too much. I know AEW just got in trouble because of their language.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, they were really, you know, they were saying shit and stuff on the air, and they
Yeah.
were letting them get away with a lot. And they just sent out a statement. I guess Warner Media said, you guys need to tone it down.
What happened with WWE Network, and why did they? You would think that they would just like play off of their own network. You know what I mean? Like, and
I get what
with
you're
the
saying.
streams nowadays, like I feel like they could have pulled that off. And
They could have got away with it on their own network, but then they sold out to Peacock for more money.
Yeah, everyone's got like a.
Well, I think they
parent
screwed
company.
up when they said, $9.99. Well,
Yeah.
anybody can afford it. Well, you start putting them up there for $50 a pop.
Yeah.
right,
So
Well, yeah. I mean, think about it though. The cheaper you go, the wider your audience. So then that means you kind of gotta adjust your, your outward view.
I like the authenticity though. Like if you're gonna cuss per se, like it's
if it's used in the right
Yes.
manner,
Yes.
then it's right. Yeah, yeah. If you're pissed off and you start flying off at the handle, it's
Yeah, yeah,
legit.
yeah.
That's kind of that's what happens.
Yeah. But like AEW now, like I said, I like their long-term storytelling. They can take a thing and they can go 3 months and you can still be like the story going on, and then
okay.
they'll have a climactic ending at a pay-per-view that'll go over well, where like two guys betrayed each other and then they save each. Like I said earlier,
it
they save
pays
each
off
other.
the whole watching the whole thing.
And you're drawn to it. You know, you want to find out next week what's going to happen. You know, like this week was CM Punk was going to take on John Moxley. Well, John Moxley is actually, if you remember him, he's Dean Ambrose from The Shield.
oh,
But in AEW, he's John Moxley, and he is just a badass.
Wow.
You know, he's just brutal to people. And like, so now you want to watch every week as as the story keeps unfolding, because CM Punk went out there and got his butt kicked in 5 minutes. Well, supposedly the story goes that he had an injury, so they had to hurry up. They had to hurry up and get the belt off of him because they don't want him to go away with the belt.
and there's, like you said, there's a lot of people that crossed over, and that's your preferred.
Right now, it's AEW. I'm going a little more back to WWE because, once again, there's new people in charge. Wrestlers are starting to get to do their own promos. There's actually storylines that actually make sense.
Yeah, I saw something strange on WWE about like it was like a promo of like some golfers. It was like they were like in some short shorts and like they're guys or whatever, and they're like straight up like not even really playing golf. They're just like modeling their muscles, but like with like golf clubs and stuff. And it
Like
went
models.
it went on for like a good 8 minutes, and I'm like, dude,
Did they ever hit the ball?
I know.
They're just at different holes.
Yeah, it just showed them in different positions. Like it was like, and I was like sitting there watching because I was like ready. Yeah, way too long. And I like snapped out of it. I was like, "What is? I'm done. Like I'm."
Jared starts getting into the putt position.
No, I mean I was trying to see what the next thing was. Yeah,
He's like, maybe I can get some of those shorts.
I got to golf. I've been trying to golf lately.
We did that one time.
Yeah, we did.
I watch Pat McAfee every day, and he's one of the announcers on SmackDown now.
Now, he's been wrestling, too.
Yeah, wrestling.
He's done well.
Well, imagine going to SmackDown. Pat McAfee's there, and he's shouting. Like, I imagine him doing some like or some The Rock shit. Like, finally, you know what I mean? Like, he's come back to Indianapolis. You know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of cool to
it'd be
see.
cool.
Yeah,
Honestly,
he went and bought his own ring and got a trainer and started actually training.
Well, yeah, he's
his
for
dream
real.
was to be in the WWE.
That's
He
so
got there.
dope.
I've heard Logan Paul has done.
He's wrestling now. He's been like back and forth with The Miz. Do you remember The Miz?
yeah, The
Yeah.
Miz, man, what a career for him. He was talk about bottom of the pit type guys.
Yeah.
and then coming now, he's probably one of the top guys there.
He's
I'd
kind of
say.
like the anti-John Cena.
Yeah.
What was AEW on?
It's on
A&W.
I think it's on TBS.
Yeah.
It's on Wednesday nights
Okay.
at 8.
TBS.
Yeah.
Okay, Wednesday nights. Okay.
Yeah, and it's about 2 hours long.
Okay.
it's
But I'm sure they got a website.
Bro,
and
I
shit.
watched
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw for like every Monday for like 2 or 3 years straight. Like never missed one. It was like my thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
Like Monday
since
Night
I'm like
Football.
such a junkie, I can watch like Raw on Monday, and then they do NXT on Tuesday, which is like Raw's or
Oh,
it's
yeah.
WWE's like farm team.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can watch that on Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays you can watch AEW, then Friday you can do SmackDown, and
Saturday,
you can
I'm
almost
sure
catch something.
Right on.
every
Yeah,
night.
it keeps your interest
Right.
fed.
Right.
Just feed it.
I remember like calling Cody, dude, or Cody would call me either way. Like, dude, did you just see what just happened? It's like, yeah, what the hell, man? Like, how we get so upset at what was happening. You get
go
really
to school the
invested.
next day and you're just devastated.
Yeah.
I remember not like I was a
You're
kid.
just
My
thinking something bad's happening.
Right.
my
Yeah.
parents would never buy the pay-per-views, so I was like I didn't want to wait till Monday Night Raw, so I would like get on the internet when it was like first starting. I was like trying to get on WWE website to see like the results of what happened.
And the
before
internet's
Monday Night Raw.
ruined it though, because you can
Yeah,
go find
spoiler.
so much spoiler stuff.
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
bet. Yeah.
And the magazines, I used to have the subscription
Bro, I
to the
had
magazines.
So many magazines.
The posters that would come in it.
They were
Yeah.
cool. They had like interviews, like different segments and stuff. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
The shops.
I remember when I was in the middle school here, we were all in. It was back in the Hulk Hogan era, and a friend of mine invented this game where it was like dice, and you would wrestle and you'd roll these dice, and if it was a 4 and a 6, it was this, and you'd lost 3 points.
That's dope.
And you'd start off with 150 points each,
Yeah.
and then you in the end you'd get the pin if you got them down to 0, and we would play that during lunch.
Nice.
Dope.
We
Did
have
you ever
some
play for
dice.
money?
We have
No,
4
food.
dice. Yeah, there we go.
I
Give me
want
your
that
pudding
square
pop.
pizza.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jared
square
grew up with
pizzas
the
were good.
action figures too.
Totally.
Like that was one of my favorite things to do. Just
Action
like I would make
figures,
my
yeah.
own storylines and stuff.
Totally.
And you'd literally be using them to
Yeah,
fucking throw them down.
You'd have
and
different
stuff.
rings, cages.
True.
And stuff
I
like that.
remember
That's
you
cool.
guys having it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think I still have like a few around, like some of my favorite ones. Maybe some are like put up like in a box and
Has your son given any interest into it? at all?
Not really. His cousin, my nephew has.
Yeah.
So Jared had a bunch of my WWE DVDs. Like I had a whole big stack of them. I gave them to him so he can enjoy them.
Gotcha. That's dope.
Try to pass it down. to the
Isaac
next
will stop
generation.
in and like watch for a few minutes and then giggle and walk away. And then
Shout out, Gumby.
Riley looks at me and goes, "That shit's fake, Dad.
It's not to me.
It's not to me."
It's like watching like a TV, not a
yeah,
TV
I
show,
mean-
but like you said, like a drama kind
We
of.
call
thing,
it
like a soap
in the showbiz. It's called the fourth wall. You know what I mean? It's where you know this play is not real, but you are allowing yourself consciously to like
invest in it.
absorb this in a different perspective. Like I'm not even gonna address the fact that I know this isn't real. I'm gonna like get entertained by it because I'm allowing myself
Yeah,
to
I
just
enjoy it.
receive it.
They had a couple times in the WWE where they talked about that. They had that guy CM Punk. They call it the pipe bomb video, where later in his career he got a hold of a hot mic and started ripping into Triple H and Vince McMahon, and it started like getting real.
Oh shit!
They couldn't cut. They didn't want to cut the mic, so they talked about how he's breaking down the fourth wall.
fourth
Oh,
wall.
yeah.
yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
that's a. I mean, that's a good example to tie in with this. But Deadpool they would say
That is-
his
yeah.
character. He'd break the fourth wall a lot and talk to
Anytime-
the fan,
yeah.
turn around and like.
Anytime I
talk to
would
the fans.
eat like mushrooms and I'm tripping, I'd always watch a fucking movie that broke the fourth wall, and it would always fuck with me because I'm going into it knowing like this is a movie. I wanna have
But
fun.
then they're addressing you.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And Deadpool's looking at me and like talking to me, and like there's a lot of movies that actually do that for like sometimes it's a split second. Some shows do it.
Yeah,
but,
don't watch the movie Inception then.
Oh no,
It's like a
I've seen
dream and a
it.
dream
Yeah,
and a dream.
yeah.
Right, just keeps on going. It's just crazy, man. But you know, I want to check out AEW just because I'm really
Yeah.
curious on like getting that vibe. Because I was, like I said, super invested into this.
And the thing is it's hard because even today you got your WWE people and you got your AEW people, and once you watch something for so long, you're kind of indoctrinated to it.
Right.
So then you don't want to like necessarily give other things a chance. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard.
right.
It's like a pride
So-
thing too. It's like You know what I mean?
And
I've done
WW
this for so long.
I feel like that was the situation with WCW and WWE for some people. Like from a lot of people that I talked to, they were either one or the other type deal, and even got mad that they were
going against each other.
right. When really, in reality, you could look at all these guys and look at the whole grand scheme of thing of all this great wrestling going on.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. And that's what they say nowadays. It's like, don't bitch about the other company. Just enjoy that there's all of this out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then New Japan don't get a lot of
Recognition.
obviously, because it's in Japan.
Right.
So a lot of their stuff, they do come over here and do tours and stuff, and they do some crossover. That's another reason I like AEW is they do a lot of like, they'll bring a guy in for like 2 weeks from Japan and give him some
like hype and
hype,
stuff.
and then he
yeah.
goes back.
So then it's drawing.
Yeah,
you know,
they kind of
both
trade for a
sides.
couple months. They trade people, and they get hot. They get hot over here, and then they send them back, and then their people love them over there.
Is
Nice, yeah.
that's smart.
is the crowd in New Japan? Because I feel like
It's very
like,
weird.
yeah, they said during UFC events they're like very polite.
They
and
don't.
They, just
They
sit there
don't
and
clap because the whole COVID thing changed everything, and they're all wearing masks, which they've always wore masks over there anyway. But they're a very different type of. The first time I watched a New Japan match, and you hear the announcers talking in Japan, and the whole thing, and you got to watch the match. There's nobody like doing the commentary, so you just kind of got to follow along with it.
They don't even have like closed captions that are switching it to English.
Later
or
on, I
anything.
noticed they started bringing in a couple English announcers. You know how like in the WWE, there's like a row of announce tables. It's the Mexican table.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the African table. And
Right.
you go clear through, and somebody would always like throw somebody through the I don't know what table. it
Yeah,
is.
right. Yeah, not the English one.
That one's cut off.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Somebody would always get slammed through the Nigerian table
Yeah.
or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
laid out, choking with the
They,
headphones.
they'd rip out the monitors.
Yeah.
They would, yeah.
The games were really, really cool, man.
Lots of games from it.
I liked myself, like, because in this sort of way that we were playing with the action figures and then playing through the games, I'm feeling like I'm the superstar. I get to control it,
yeah.
and I have like their powers type deal or whatever. And it's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I really liked how, I think my favorite one was probably SmackDown vs. Raw 2007.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Dude, that was one of my favorites. Some of the older generation would probably say like,
Bring the pain.
yeah, that's what was wasn't there a SmackDown?
I had one had the Rock on the front.
Maybe
cover.
that one is Bring the Pain.
The earlier ones on like the Nintendo's 64 and stuff like that. They're like just like seeing them now. It probably was cool to see back then. But
Yeah.
like, it's
Because I think
I appreciate it now,
the
though,
big
too.
deal was whenever The Rock was able to actually take off his elbow pad, and that was
do
like
the
a big
whole-
to do the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Damn, man, that makes me
I
kind of
think
wish.
Michael was telling me just yesterday, and you guys tell me that there was a game that you could actually like you could be low on power or energy, and like you could go over and like inject steroids, and then your
God
bar would be
damn.
all the way up. I don't know what game he was telling me. Him and Chuck was telling me.
It sounds
about
like Blitz, maybe.
Yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, Blitz, yeah.
Was
yeah.
there one for WWE or something like that?
Maybe I didn't get
So
to
the
play
football
it though.
blitz.
yeah,
Yeah, because they had one like in
didn't know
every
they were shooting
sport
Blitz
almost.
League or whatever. Yeah.
Those
He'd
were
be like,
fun.
here, they get injured or something. They're like, like some Festus.
Hulk
Bane.
out.
Me and my buddy Josh Winger, we would play that like the whole weekend, like try to go through like the story mode and stuff like that, and try to and then like do different matches for different like bets and stuff like that. It was fun. Yeah.
That's what Riley builds his player in the NFL or in the
Yeah.
NBA, and you know, it's like he builds these insane players. Like he's 7'8".
Yeah, so you guys know Carter and Easton, and they're
Yeah.
always around. Carter is always wanting to play that WWE 2K22, and he doesn't actually play them. He'll set up the matches like a general manager, dude. Yeah, and sit there and watch them, or he'll just even
kinda
simulate.
dope.
He'll even simulate the match and just try to make this person the champion or
choreograph
whatever.
it.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
like it was. And
That's another interesting take on
yeah,
it.
he showed me a different way to play it. You know what I mean? And I was like, it's just really cool. You know what I mean?
And like the NFL and NBA games, yeah, you can literally be the coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Well,
you can play, or you could be the coach.
Well, they would
and go
take two
through the
NFL teams
simulation.
and they put them against each other to see who would win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'd say, all right,
yeah.
5 out of 6. they
I
won
remember
this
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think WWE had an actual general manager mode. You go through like the calendar and it have like all your events and then like the pay-per-views, and you'd have to go through and set up the matches and try to get like good ratings
The
and
best
stuff like that.
outcome.
Money,
and
house,
shit.
house money, and all your money.
2007 was really cool because you could change your general manager room or whatever.
Oh, your locker
Or
room?
yeah, your
Yes.
locker room
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
You could put black lights in there. And
You had like all
stuff,
your
and
trophies and
Yeah.
championships that you won and stuff. It was
pick
pretty cool.
between like a leather couch or
It was
like
You'd sit there for hours and just customize.
That's when Jared would be bringing the divas.
Yeah, come on.
Come on,
Get on
ladies.
this leather.
Fortunately, all my allegations are coming up in the game now too.
As
I'm
your
no
lawyer,
longer GM.
Eric Bischoff.
What kind of budget do you have for Jared's lawsuit?
Yeah, right. Damn it. Well, you know what? I think we covered a lot of things.
that was a great.
Yeah, it was good.
I feel like I know quite a bit now.
Right. I mean,
can
we can
hang
even
in
go
with you
through
guys
like
now.
some deeper things another time if you ever wanted to.
Yeah, I
'cause there
enjoyed
is-
this one. This was fun.
There is so much to talk about,
Yeah.
and it was like that with the Star Wars thing. Like
Oh,
we're
hit me
just.
up on the Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, you have to
Okay,
come
yeah.
back.
Sad I missed that.
Well, then
one.
maybe let's do you
Yeah.
and Isaac.
Yeah, that'd be good.
and-
Yeah.
Part 2 Star Wars, and then
Yeah,
we
a
can
new
get
generation and old generation.
Yeah.
Then and now.
The old man.
Yeah, the old.
Isaac tries to steal the throne.
And you could bring Riley in. He's like, I hate it all.
You have to sit here.
Me and
and
Isaac's
hear it.
watching it, and we're all geeking out. And Riley's like, you guys are so stupid.
There's always one. Well, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah,
thanks
thanks
for
for
having
coming.
me. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Thanks,
thanks
Mike.
for coming.
Yeah.
Really, I had a fun time, man.
Fun
That was
time.
cool. Catch us next week. I mean, we're gonna be back with some more.
Yeah. This is
Always
76.
76.
I don't want to give who our guest is just yet. We'll just leave that.
Yeah,
up
they'll
for-
find out.
for later on. But
Yeah, but thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
for sure.
appreciate it. It was
Catch
fun.
you next time, everybody.
right on. Peace.